freedom. This is the Reentry Journey podcast with your host, Cardell Sims, bringing you the powerful stories of those who have walked through prison gates and built meaningful lives beyond them. These aren't just stories of survival. They're testimonies of transformation, second chances, and the human capacity for change. Join us as we explore the challenges, triumphs, and lessons learned on the reentry journey. From darkness to light, from confinement to freedom, this is the Reentry Journey podcast with your host, Cardell Sims, bringing you the powerful stories of those who have walked through prison gates and built meaningful lives beyond them. These aren't just stories of survival. They're testimonies of transformation, second chances, and the human capacity for change. Join us as we explore the challenges, triumphs, and lessons learned on the reentry journey. From darkness to light, from confinement to freedom, this is the Reentry Journey podcast with your host, Cardell Sims, bringing you the powerful stories of those who have walked through prison gates and built meaningful lives beyond them. These aren't just stories of survival. They're testimonies of transformation, second chances, and the human capacity for change. Join us as we explore the challenges, triumphs, and lessons learned on the reentry journey. From darkness to light, from confinement to freedom, this is the Reentry Journey podcast with your host, Cardell Sims, bringing you the powerful stories of those who have walked through prison gates and built meaningful lives beyond them. These aren't just stories of survival. They're testimonies of transformation, second chances, and the human capacity for change. Join us as we explore the challenges, triumphs, and lessons learned on the reentry journey. From darkness to light, from confinement to freedom, this is the Reentry Journey podcast.
All right, man. My apologies, man. I'm having some technical difficulties here. Getting us started, man. But welcome to another episode of the Reentry Journey podcast. I am your host, Cardell Sims. Yeah, it's been a minute that we had the podcast, but we're back now, man. We ready to get it full in effect. Hopefully, I'm past any technical difficulties. Got a new system, but if you're tuning in, man, we appreciate it. Sorry for the long intro and the wait, but today, man, we're joined by a man whose life story can be a blueprint for transformation, right? Growing up in Alton, Illinois, without a father, Mr. Donald Hinton found his role models in the streets, and these choices eventually led to an 8-year behind bars for gun and drug charges, right? But unlike many who got caught in the revolving door of incarceration, Donald had a moment of clarity while serving his sentence, a realization that if he didn't change his path, his son would follow in his footsteps. What happened next defies the odds. Just 5 months after his release in 2019, Donald acquired his first property. Today, he is building a growing real estate portfolio and dedicating himself to showing others that a criminal record doesn't have to be a life sentence to poverty. From prison to properties, Donald Hinton is showing us what's possible when determination meets opportunity. Welcome to the reentry journey, Mr. Donald Hinton. Welcome to the reentry journey, man. I appreciate you bearing with me, going through the technical difficulties and all that. So just want to say welcome to the reentry journey.
Yeah. Man, thank you for inviting me, man. I appreciate it.
Most definitely. So one of the first questions I want to ask is, you spent 8 years incarcerated for guns and drugs. Can you take us back to the moment when you first heard your sentence? Like when you first got your sentence, what went through your mind?
Man, that's crazy because, like I said, like I didn't break down until my son came to see me. So when they offered me that 90 months, I got 90 months in the federal system. Um, I had a probation violation, so I was in there. They gave me my 10 years for my probation violation. On that, I would have to do 2 years, and then I went to the federal system, and then they gave me that 90 months. It didn't really hit me. They had what I tell people is like with recidivism and us educating those young guys, they priming us for that 90 months, right? So when you get it, it's just like, okay, now I got to do 90. So it didn't really hit me whenever they gave me that 7.5 years.
Oh wow. So you mentioned like in your intro, I mentioned when you talking about growing up without a father and being raised by the streets. Like for me, I'm a rapper. I definitely was influenced by rap music and the rappers, and just the older cousins and people in my neighborhood influenced me as well. That sold drugs, just how the lifestyle, come from poverty, and I'm seeing them riding with gold flakes on their cars and things like that. How did rappers and neighborhood drug dealers become your role model, and what specific influence shaped your decisions during them early years?
Yeah, man. Like I was the youngest out of all of my cousins, so that was the people I had to look up to, the men in the family that I had to look up to. And whenever they riding around on rims, we want to do that. Whenever they having all of the girls, we want to do that also. So um, those was the people that shaped my life. And then by me listening to the music, like want to say like Ti was one of my favorites, right? So when we hear that, we hearing that all day. It's going into our mental factory all day. So now we chanting it, get money, get girls, all of this stuff all day. So when we chanting that, and then that's what we seeing, it's inevitable that that's what you're gonna become. So that's how it all started.
Mm. And many people talk about turning points in prison. You mentioned a moment when you realized you needed to change for your son. Can you walk us through that? Can you walk us through like that exact moment? What was that like? What really what was that encounter that made you be like, man, I gotta change? Because like the reason why I'm asking is because you know everyone has kind of like their own why. Like I was telling someone this the other day. Like my why wasn't my kids. The reason why I say that for me because I went to prison 5 times, right? So you know what I'm saying, and not 9 to 10 county jail trips. So why wasn't it had to be something outside of my kids because I had kids doing this whole process, right? And nothing, they'll come see me, never changed my mindset. So it was a different thing that was behind really my why, So, but for you, what was that exact moment like? What was that feeling like?
Yeah, man, that's important and why. So for me, I was 3 years in. I was 3 years in my sentence. I had left the state already. I did my probation violation time. During that whole time, my son was coming to see me. It was in the same. It was like 10 minutes away. So my son was coming to see me the whole time. And then I got shipped off to Wisconsin, Oxford, Wisconsin. And that's the exact prison that my dad did time at. So it was
Mm,
the exact prison I seen my dad at. So that was the trigger. So I'm in the same visiting room that I visited my dad at. So that is it's like it don't hit you until it hits you, but after he left that day, man, it just reality hit like this is a cycle. This is a cycle that needs to be broken. So I got back to my cell. I broke down. I ain't gonna lie, I cried. That was my first time crying. Like I was in there for 3 years, just thugging it out, like going through the motions. But that right there, it just stopped me in my tracks. Like, man, wake up. This is it. Like, this is what's about to be it. So, I changed. I got rid of all those James Patterson books. I got away from the love and hip hop TV, and I educated myself, and I really changed. That was my reason why. So what was your reason why though? Like what made you want to change? Because it's different, like you said, it's different for
Oh man,
everybody.
hey, my reason why was the United States of America versus Cardell Sims, right? And
Hmm.
it's my fifth prison trip. The reason why, it became my why because I wasn't no teenager and I wasn't early 20s or nothing like that. Like I just got out of prison not too long ago. I'm like going into my mid 30s, and I'm just like, man, why do I keep finding myself in these situations? That's
Mm,
seeing that made me ask that one question. That question led to me answering that question to myself, saying I keep putting myself in this situation.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that was kind of like the first time I really took accountability. And so I made a sign of oath to myself, like, you know how the federal system goes. You don't really know what's going on when they first indict you. You go to court, they hand you the indictment paper. You kind of just like, damn, you know what I'm saying? So I'm
Mhm.
like, whatever happens out of this case, if I hopefully I don't get life. You know, in my mind, I'm thinking the least I'm gonna do is 10 years. But whenever I get released, I'm gonna be better than I was standing there right then and there. And
Mhm.
so that's what caused it. The United States of America versus Cardell Sims. Fearing that I had two fears about prison. One had nothing to do with getting hurt, killed, or none of that. It was I didn't want to grow old and dying in prison. Like I didn't want to live the rest of my life in prison, right? Just the thought of that. And I had this was a possibility where this could possibly happen. So if I get a chance to get back out to the streets, I'm gonna be better than I was standing there that day.
Yeah, man. That's powerful, man.
Right. And so like from there the transformation process began. So let's talk about you in the transformation process. Like for you, what specific skills did you commit to learning while you was locked up?
So whenever I was in there, uh, after I threw away all of the James Pattersons, man, I got serious with anything. The first book I picked up was a psychology book, like a real textbook. Like in Oxford, one thing about that is I didn't like their library because you couldn't pick what you wanted to. You had to like just tell them what you wanted, they'll go get it. But
Mm,
it was a psychology book where I learned psychology and how to learn. So that was the first one, and I sat in my room. It was college, you know what I mean. I sat in my room and figured it out, until I got to a different location, and then I picked up the investing books. I picked up the real estate books, the stock market books, and that's how I did my journey. It was basically a university for me.
okay. And so when you say different location, uh like for me, it was like a two process schooling thing because I'm just like you. Like I picked up any book. I was reading hypnosis book. I'm trying to learn about the mind, psychology. I was reading books. That was while I was waiting on going through the whole federal sentencing phase from the indictment to bond hearing. I don't even know why they didn't send me to a bond hearing. I was already on state probation and parole, so I knew I wouldn't get no
Hmm.
bond. But then I probably didn't go to court again for about another year.
Hmm.
Uh, just got superseded indictment, so they took us back to court. I went back. Like it was for me to even get a sentence was a 32-month process. Then I went to Leavenworth, and there's where they had actual programs. Up until that point, I was in a county in a small town out in the country somewhere. But when I got to Leavenworth, they had programs. I was able to take programs. They had more available stuff in the library and things like that. So was that kind of like what happened with you?
Yeah. So in the state, like I ain't never been dumb. So I actually went to college when I was before I got locked up. I did like 2 years at a community college. So I
Okay.
ain't never been a dumb type, but I made dumb decisions. So whenever I got to my first stop, that's in the state. That's where I started reading that, just opening my mind to a
Okay.
different possibility. But I was still reading trash, something that wouldn't educate me, help me. Um, and then whenever I got to the real to the where I could walk the yard and go into a library, that's whenever I got serious. After my
Mhm.
son left, that's when I I learned everything. Like, this is knowledge. Knowledge is understanding mathematics, physics, all of this stuff. That's what knowledge is. So that's where it all came to me at. So yeah, whenever I
Okay.
got to that prison, that's whenever I really unloaded on that knowledge.
So sometimes prison. We know sometimes prison culture don't really celebrate change and personal development. Especially like you going in the federal system, you getting in cars and stuff like that. You know, you're gonna be having meetings. I used to get so tired of having meetings and stuff like that. But it's a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of times it's not celebrating change or personal development. Did you face any like resistance from anybody or ridicule when you started like, on your journey and on your path to personal
That's
development?
Man, Cardell, that's a good one right there because people don't know that prison, that federal system, that's politics. That is
Yeah,
politics. Either you gonna get in this car or you gonna go over there. And me, I went over there. Like, I gotta wait. Like, I ain't high. I ain't my paperwork good, but so I
right.
can't walk the yards. But it's like I don't want to participate in this stuff because they are like crash dummies. You know what I mean? Some of them, like,
No,
they want you to mess up your time. Like,
yeah,
no,
oh,
I
yeah. I don't
feel
think people understand. Like I've seen, we had a new case manager moving because our unit was the worst in Leavenworth, B upper. Man, I'm talking about it was a. They had changed the rest of the units into newer style units. This was
yeah,
still old style, stacked tier, three tiers. It used to be
yeah,
five. They put a floor in between the second and the third and made the first two honor dorm, but the second, the top three was the wild dorm. And I'm talking about this unit was long. I'm talking about it was so long it had an alley in it. Like you just cut halfway through it. So you
yeah,
had one half, you had two halves to this whole unit. And so it was wild in there. Like every time a new come in, every week somebody was getting chased up out of there for their life, jumping down the third off the third tier, trying to get up out of there. Every time a new bunch came in, somebody was in. So they came with a new case manager who was over the. He was the case manager over the. They got the RDAP and in the CBT community, the
yeah.
therapeutic community. They gonna bring him over there, right? He want to go. First thing he want to do is go through all the cells, and it's a lot of sales. He wanted to go through every last sale and strip out everything that you weren't supposed to have. People making toothbrush holders, everything else. People, I done seen some people. Like I seen I can't forget the guy's name, but when one dude sale, he had the whole Vice Lord. His whole sale was spick and span with the Vice Lord logo display in the floor. Like people in the feds, like sales is
Yeah.
a real big thing. So he came in there tearing everybody's sales up, and they put a hit out on him. And the dude that guy had to put the hit out on him, out the Mexican car. The Mexicans put the hit out on the dude, and the dude who they chose, he was like 2 months away from going home. He was like 2 months away from going home.
Man, that's how it be, man. They just like that's politics. So I
It
ain't
had the
jumping
right
at
car
that.
sale too. Like it was right. They was going up. They was wrestling on the right on the stairway in front. Cause I had a cell that was on the second tier. So and you come out the door, the stairs is right there. They was wrestling, and he was stabbing him up. They fell over the rail. Everything. Like, oh man, we was locked down for a minute. But yeah, he was 2 weeks away from going home,
That's
and
how
this
it is.
that's how it is. Like people don't understand. They don't care in them cars. If you really locked in them cars, if they say let's go, it's let's go. How
Yeah,
I
man.
escaped it was I found dudes in the car that was on what I was on. They might be in the library, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they having conversations that I'm having, right? We passing around the same books and everything like that. But yeah, you gotta, man, you that's that politics ain't no joke.
Yeah, man. So yeah, me, I just got away from it. I just got in the library, got away from all of the nonsense, and kept my head down and focused on that mission for when I got out, man.
Right. And so if you can go back, thinking now, if you can go back and have a conversation with your younger self when you first enter prison, you know what I'm saying, what would you tell them?
That conversation would be education. I just teach him all that he needed to know, So that's how whenever I'm posting on social media and doing my thing, I'm talking to the 23-year-old me. That's all I'm doing. I don't care who it is. It's the 23-year-old me that I'm looking at. So I can tell them exactly what they need to know so they don't have to go down that road. That's all I'm doing is just giving them the education. All right, do this, do this, do this, and then this is the outcome. Just teaching them a different way. We didn't know no different way. So if I'm like they used to give me the plug. This the plug right here. Go holler at the plug. So the plug is the bank. I'm gonna teach you about the bank.
Yeah,
What you need
right.
to say to the bank, how you need to go into the bank and present yourself. That's what I'm teaching. So
Yeah,
it
man said
it'll
the
be
plug is
that
the bank,
knowledge.
straight up.
Yeah, yeah, on everything.
Man, so let's talk about the post-release journey. What was the first few weeks like after you got out? You know what I'm saying? We know them weeks can be overwhelming. Like when you get out in the first couple of weeks, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced immediately after you got out?
Okay, that's a good question because when I got out, I went to a city where I ain't know nobody. So I can't,
Mm,
I got away from, like, if you don't change your environment, you're going to end up the same way. So
man,
I,
man.
I, I saved my money while I was in prison. I was a store man and I worked Unicorn. So I
Oh,
had about
wow,
10,
you was balling.
I was,
You was putting
I
boys in
was,
that core.
yeah,
Oh,
I had like 10 bands when I got out. So
yeah,
when I got
I
out,
believe it.
yeah. When I got out, I went to a city where I ain't know nobody. And then I had 10,000. So it was it wasn't as difficult as it will be for most guys. So yeah, I am an outlier and I everybody ain't gonna end up like I ended up. So those first couple weeks wasn't as hard because I just looked at it as, I'm still in prison. I'm in a halfway house. That's still prison. So I'm getting my food, my clothing, and my shelter automatically. You know what I mean? So what
Mhm.
I did was I still educated myself. Now I'm educating myself on this community that I'm about to enter into. Right? I
Mm.
know where all of the banks at that I need to go to. I know where the jobs is at, how to find this job. So that's what I'm sitting in the halfway house doing. And then I found a list in the halfway house with landlords that rent to felons. So I contacted them. So whenever I got out the halfway house, I had me a crib already. So it was like the journey, like reentry wasn't as hard for me because I prepared myself while I was in prison. Like that was the time to do it. You hear a lot of guys talking about, yeah, I'm gonna do this when I get out, or yeah, I'm gonna read this book whenever I get out. No, you got the time right now. You got to prepare right now because when you get out, life is gonna move so fast that you is not gonna have time to do none of that stuff. So yeah, I prepared myself, and then opportunities start presenting themselves, and I executed on them, and now here I am.
Man, and the reason why I'm shaking my head like that because um, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like
Mhm.
that's what I did in the halfway house. Like I just didn't sit around in the halfway house. Like I was typing up my books. I was taking life coaching courses, everything else. They used to
Yeah.
get mad at me. I'm printing out life coaching paperwork on the. I have them printed out. They getting like Mr. Sims. We can't. Before you know it, they started giving me binders to put the paperwork in. Like yeah, you know. But all of that started when I was in prison. That's
Mhm.
what I tell people all the time. Like they's like, how was this? You getting out this last time? How was it different? I was like, I really wasn't. it wasn't hard for me because I was just focused on this one thing. I was focused on what I said I was gonna come out here and do, what I was gonna build. A life coach, reentry company. I was just focused on building that. I already knew what obstacles I faced, and I already had from being locked up. I had already put a plan around to get around them obstacles. I knew exactly where I wanted to go, who I need to talk to. I had all this stuff written down. So when it approached me, I just went through them. I had 4 of them brown legal folders. I just went through them folders. I pull it out. Yeah, it's in there. I pull it out, do these steps, and
Yeah.
and I, I did the same thing. So I think it's important that people really need to know that, like, it really starts you preparing yourself. You need to start. That's why I named my reentry academy on the inside for that exact reason. Reentry starts on the inside of prison and a self. You have to start preparing yourself, and while you in prison, like you said, once you get out here, especially where time goes, you ain't gonna have the luxury to, if you're not disciplined, you won't have the luxury of the time to try to build, um, so, like, to try to build up something immediately, like without
Yeah.
having the knowledge. You can't re-enter once you out here. You out here now, all right? Straight up, like, man. So I definitely know what that halfway hustle, the halfway hustle look like. I talk about that in my new book. That's why I call it the halfway hustle, because a lot of dudes get to the halfway house and we seen them. They just sit around. When I went to a halfway house in Springfield, dude had this in the TV room. He done bought this video game. He in there playing video games out. What are you're wasting time. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna salute that halfway hustle. So how did you what was going on in your mind, like the day-to-day process building up to you getting your first property and after you got your first property?
All right. So when I got out the halfway house, I was working a job, so I was doing what I was supposed to do, and my landlord, it was around COVID time, so I tell people like whenever you listen to these rich people, they all saying that how they got rich was luck. You know what I mean? It was luck, but they was preparing for the opportunity, and then the opportunity presented itself, and it was just lucky. You know what I mean? So I
Mhm.
feel that because it was COVID time, and I just asked my landlord if he had a property he wanted to sell. So in my mind, I'm thinking like he probably tenant's not paying him because it's COVID. You know, he probably getting behind on his bill. I don't know what his situation was, but he did say he got this tenant that won't get out and he want to sell this building. So as soon as the tenant got out, he sold me this building. So like I said, I had the 10,000 already, and I was still working and all of this stuff. So uh whenever the opportunity presented itself, he called me like, "Hey, the building open." So I had told him back when I was in the halfway house, I want to buy a building. But whenever the opportunity presented itself, he called me like, "Yeah, it's open now." So we went, we looked at it, and what I teach people is you don't need to go to the bank to get the money. You don't need to have good credit to get the property. uh, and sometimes you don't even need the cash. What you need is the understanding of how real estate goes. So he sold it to me on contract. What a contract is basically he give it to me and give me a certain amount of time to go into the bank and get the rest of his money. So that's how I bought my first one on contract. Um, it's it's um it's basically like rent to own or something like that. But
Okay.
uh, that's how I got the first one, and it was it was simple. It wasn't easy. It was simple. It was just like basically a lease. So just being prepared helped me get that.
Hmm. So, in your bio, you mentioned about building a real estate portfolio. What does that look like today, and what's your long term vision of it?
So today it looked like I got 15 properties. You know,
Mm,
I've been out for like 5 years. I got 15 of them now. Um, it's just been rolling. Like it just like preparation. So they fall into your lap, and if you hear it, you'll know when how to execute. You know what I mean? So you probably heard somebody say, "Hey, I'm selling my house. I'm selling my house," but you never executed on it because it was Chinese to you. You know what I mean? So they saying the stuff, but it's Chinese to you. So whenever you understand the process, you communicate with them better. So that's what I'm teaching. That's what the future look like. That's what the vision look like. Me teaching this stuff because everybody needs a place to go, right? We all need a place to live. So how do we get into those places and we don't have good credit? How do we get into those places and we don't have the cash to do it? You do it by education. So that's what I'm all about, giving the education and showing them what they need to have. So the future looks like my company is called Second Chance, and it's basically three rings, and the three rings stand for giving people a place to live, giving them a job. So now they have a place to live and they have a job going out maintaining these properties or um, fixing them up and things like that. And then the education. So now I'm giving them the education on how to get their own property, and that's what the future look like for me.
Okay. Mm. And so, what's the most common misconceptions that people may have while you educating people that people may have about what's possible for those that's coming out of prison?
That the most common misconception would be that it's gonna take too long, you can't do it, and things like that. So uh, it's just like people think that they can't do it, but it's just the knowledge. You don't have the knowledge to do it, so yeah, you can't do it. But once you get the
Right.
knowledge, you can do anything. You know, so
Mhm.
uh, the common misconception is that they can't do it. You know, but anything is possible.
Straight up. Straight up. Okay. And during this process, were there any moments where the your past actually was an advantage in this real estate?
Uh, yeah, yeah. My past was an advantage because some people, whenever it comes to numbers, like I was in prison for selling drugs, and then I was a store man in prison, and then
Right.
my unicorn job was an accountant. I was the accountant for Unicorn for all the prisons. So
Okay.
I've been dealing with numbers in detail my whole life. You know what I mean? So whenever I'm analyzing a property, it's easy for me to do it in my head, just seeing it. You know what I mean? Some people they might have to take the time to write it down to analyze it and do the numbers. But for me, it's like it come natural. It ain't no second guessing and all of this stuff. Now I do be wrong sometimes, but more often more than right most of the time. But I do be wrong too. So those numbers is easy for me.
Right. Yeah, you do it when you know when you do something, you definitely know the numbers because why you what made me think about what you were saying and it made it, what I'm saying, I'm like, yeah, that is true. Was one time I got out of prison, I had got this job working for a moving and storage company. So we used to move like houses. A lot of time it'd be people on military base. And so,
Okay.
you go in and you do surveys of how much pounds of you think someone has in their house. So I used to be the
Mhm.
survey person. And so after I worked there for about like 6 months, from that point on in my life, when I walk in people's house, I start sizing up how much how much pounds of furniture and stuff they have, just in case they moving. I'd be like, oh yeah, man, I'm like I probably got about 1,500 pounds in here, but the furniture and
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
so you instantly know when yeah. So I definitely feel you on that. So let's talk about the why. Let's talk about your why post release. How is your relationship with your son, and do you even talk about your past and discuss your past with
Oh yeah, he know.
him?
So I actually got two sons. The son that I'm
Okay.
always referring to in the story, that's my youngest son. And yeah, he know, man, like my he know the whole journey. He know my story. I tell him that he was the reason why. So he know all of this stuff, and I educate him just like I educate everybody on my Facebook feed and all of my other feeds. Like he can tell you um what the spot price of gold is and all of it. Like I don't know, but yeah, because that's important. I was never taught that. So now that I know it, I gotta teach him this stuff. I gotta teach him renovating a house. He helped me do some of my houses. So
Right.
yeah, he been a part of this journey and he know everything that's going on. So yeah,
Okay.
man. It's very
Yeah.
important to educate them, let them see this stuff, man, because I was never taught this. I was never given that opportunity. So I'm trying to change that.
Okay. And so, what does success look like for you now than what it looked like when you were younger?
Oh, that's a good one. See, success for me when I was younger, that was having them cars, that was having them girls, that was having that big old stack of money. I was
Right.
successful. You know what I mean? But now that I understand this stuff, success is not about what you have, it's about what you've accomplished. You know what I mean? Like what I mean by that is if I say that I want to get my book into every prison, success is by me getting on the phone with that director, getting on the phone with the warden, getting my book into the prison, talking to all of the people that have family that's impacted by it, and sending their family members a copy of this book. That's what success is. Success is taking something out of your head and manifesting it into the real world. It ain't about what you have. It's about if you can get your vision out of your head and into reality. That's what success is. And if you don't make money on it, that's not success. Success is not about the money. It's about the execution of the whole process.
Exactly. Right. So, if someone was listening right now and just starting their reentry journey, what's the one piece of advice that you would give to that person?
You got to give them that that reason why. What's your reason why? That's the foundation. That's what we got to figure out. What's your why? Because if you don't know why you doing something, like you might be like, why you want to get into real estate? I'm trying to get that money. That's not a reason why. Money is not the reason why. The reason
Right.
I'm trying to get into real estate is because I need something to pass to that little boy, right? I need something. The Bible say that a good man leaves an inheritance to his kids. And then it says what's an inheritance? The inheritance is gold, is riches, and houses, and an understanding of God. So if I can leave him a house, some money, or some gold, and then have him give him an understanding of what God is, then that's what a good man is. So understanding that why, that's the foundation. So why do you want to do this? And then you got to figure out what you want to do. Real estate is not for everybody because
Right.
you got toilets that you got to fix. You got people that don't want to pay you. It's not for everybody. And some people are short tempered and will not go through this stuff. So
Right.
so you got to
I'll
figure
be,
out,
I'll be seeing them videos on social media. They be having to break into their own houses, get the tenants out, got to get the
man.
judge, all type of people.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah. I
nah,
didn't. I didn't
that's
went
not
through it. I didn't went through it. Yeah.
that's crazy. you
Yeah.
know, I asked this question to everybody who's been on my podcast. It's the one question I ask on every podcast, and that is, if you had one word to describe your journey, what would that one word be, and why?
It would be fun. It would be fun. Even all of the bad parts, all of
Mm,
the bad parts is fun. And the reason why it's fun is because if it was easy, then it wouldn't be no fun, right? So it's fun whenever you lose everything and got to rebuild it from nothing. It hurts. It's not fun in the moment, but when you look back on it, like, dang, I was down to my last $10. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like that's what's fun. That journey is is uh is fun. So I love every moment of it, even the bad times.
Okay. So what's next for you?
What's next is building this thing out, making it bigger and more impactful. So actually, so I just started a community where I'm helping people buy their first house. So building that out, getting that like a stable structure where I know a actual routine that we can go through. Now bloom bloom bloom, now you got your house whenever you out of prison, so that's what's next. I'm working on it. It's working. As long as you work it, it'll work. So it's working, but that's what's next. I need to get some testimonials, some actual social proof, and actually help these guys.
Mm. So how can people tuning in? They might want to reach out to you. They might want to find you. How can they find you?
I'm on every single platform, and it's my name, Donald Hinton, or you can look up From Prison to Properties. That's the name of my book that I wrote. It's basic intelligence on how to get into real estate. It's on Amazon. It's on, or you can directly contact me and get a signed copy. But I'm on every platform if you want to find me.
Mm. And one last word to the guys on the inside who might be tuning in, who might be watching this interview. What's your advice to them?
Focus on that goal, man. Whenever you get out, you're gonna want to get that girl. Whenever you get out, you're gonna want to get that money. But what's really important is that goal, because the money and the girl that's gonna come, it's inevitable, right? But that goal, if you don't have a clear goal, then you just gonna be doing anything. So I like to tell them like this: think about a football field. If there's no goal, you just running around playing, right? So if there's no goal, no set goal that you're reaching for, you just run around playing. So set a goal, man, and accomplish that goal.
Mm. There it is. No, this is another episode of the Reentry Journey. Yeah, we back. I know I've been off break. I know it's been a while since we had another interview. Man, I appreciate you coming on, Mr. Hinton, sharing your journey, sharing your story, uh, being an inspiration and showing people what is possible, walking out of prison. And not only what's possible, taking back and building a legacy by educating those who might don't know how to do it, showing them the way, and then leaving a legacy with your sons, with your family. Because to me, that's the biggest thing. Like if those of you, a lot of people be on the conversation with me and talk to me as close with me, they'll tell you, well, my ultimate goal, if God bless me, you know what I'm saying, with the time, is to my ultimate goal was 300 acres. I want 300 acres. I want to build a small. People think I say it crazy, but I want to build a small town, and I know it's possible. I know it's possible because here in Missouri, I've seen it in a process. I was going. I had to take my stepdad to the doctor for like a year straight, and in like a year time, going from in between the hour drive coming out of this bigger city, I sit and watch probably about 15. It ain't a real big city, but outside this city, I sit and watch the town get slowly put together with a name. And it wasn't like a big, huge town, but they had the necessities. Had some houses. I seen it done in almost like a year and a half, 2 year time. And I was like, yeah, and when I worked at I used to work for FedEx. This last time I was on federal prison. When I got out, one of the jobs I had was FedEx, and they said on all these country routes, Northwest Missouri, Northeastern Kansas. It's all land, but every now and then I stumble up on like it'd be small towns that's out here, and it's like up here. It's 2 stores I know for a fact that are in these small towns, and these towns might not be nothing 300-400 people, 2,000 people. It's a Dollar General and the Casey's, right? And so,
Mhm.
man, if I can get, I'll start off with 20, 30, but my ultimate goal is to expand it to like 300 and be able to blueprint it out. You know what I'm saying? Create zones, lands, and in Missouri you can get it. You can turn it into a charter city. You can get a charter city, put the name on it, and everything else. So yeah, that's my ultimate goal, man. That's what I'm working for, man. That's what I'm working
That's,
toward.
that's big. Make that goal so big that it's scary. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
that's what it is.
and then whenever you accomplish it, it's just that much joy.
The biggest part is like the biggest and the most exciting part for me is teaching that to my sons, my children, and my grandchildren, letting them understand like this might not happen while I'm here, but this is the ultimate goal that I want you all. Because when you really, I can go into detail about it, but when you think about it, man, when you look at how cities are orchestrated and stuff like that, like, man, it's so many possibilities to this, and you generating more than just like you generating a legacy, family legacy in a sense, building, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying, naming the streets after your children, the whole nine. Like people see them family compounds, like y'all
yeah,
want that, but I want
the whole
I see
city.
the city, right?
Yeah,
You got to stay who you want to stay, and everyone in the city work. You know what I'm saying? They can come in with their own jobs. You can have build companies. People in this, all the money is funneling through that city, right? So, you know, get your city council. Like you can expand. Like every big city that you see and you think of didn't start off as no big city, right?
hmm,
It grew to that extent. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
People migrate and move, but it didn't start off that big, you know. So that's my idea, man. If I can get my goal is just to get the acres. If I get the acres, then the kids and the grandkids can take it from there.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Mine's is a skyscraper. I'm trying to get a skyscraper.
Oh
So
man,
yeah,
yeah,
that's I don't know why, but that's just because I'm from a small town, so we ain't had
yeah,
none. So
yeah.
by
We
me
ain't,
moving
where
to
I'm
the
from, we ain't have no skyscrapers like that either.
yeah,
Like
so I
I
moved to
know
a
in the
bigger
city
city.
they got them, but yeah, I ain't. I'm afraid of heights, so I ain't really. Yeah, I might get up on. You might have 20 floor. I might get to looking out the window and pass out. Just
Yeah, man.
yeah.
So
But I can
yeah,
sense being able to have your own skyscraper, walking in there and knowing like, yeah, this is me.
that's me. Yeah, that's
It's
what I'm
me.
on, man.
Yeah.
That's my
There's so much
big.
you
That's
can
my
do.
big thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. I ain't never really thought about that, but there's so much you can do with a skyscraper. You can put apartments in there. You can put your crib. You can do a lot with the skyscraper. So y'all like that, man. But I appreciate you being the guest, man. And anything I can do to help, you know, need any advice or anything, whatever, man, just reach out to me, man. I ain't, you know me, I ain't hard to find.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, man, I appreciate the work that you're doing, man. Again, thank you for being a guest on the reentry journey, man. I really enjoy it. For everybody tuned in, thanks for tuning in, watching out. Be on the lookout for everything from both of us. That what we got going on, Prisoner Properties on the Inside Reentry Academy. Um, Second Chance Month next month. I will be in Arkansas. Well, we both will be in Arkansas. So
I'll
we
be
be
there.
down, yeah, we be down in Arkansas. I'll also be down at the in St. Louis doing the keynote. Be at Omaha and Illinois, I think next month. So yeah, Second Chance Month, man. So shout out coming up. So shout out to everybody, man, who's given who's been through the struggle, man, coming out and getting that opportunity, man, to it might not be some of the things might not be fair, man, but I promise you, if you got yourself a vision and some goals, man, you'll forget that you even on paper, that you even coming out of prison. So
Yeah,
always remember what I say for the guys on the inside. You know what I say. Don't let the limitation of your background reduce the height of your potential, man. Outgrow what you were born into. For everybody tuning in, this is another episode of the Reentry Journey. We back live, and so you get to see the mistakes and everything else. So I appreciate y'all tuning in. And until next time, man, y'all be great. Pick a word off my background and keep it, man, in your mind for a month or till the next time you see me. And I might ask you if you're tuning in and you're tuning in next time, I might ask you what your word is, or if you're on YouTube or anywhere, matter of fact, comment, pick a word off my background and put it in the comments. Thank y'all for tuning in. This is the Reentry Journey, and we getting out of here. Peace.
From darkness
Appreciate
to
you.
light, from confinement to freedom. This is the Reentry Journey podcast with your host, Cardell Sims, bringing you the powerful stories of those who have walked through prison gates and built meaningful lives beyond them. These aren't just stories of survival. They're testimonies of transformation, second chances, and the human capacity for change. Join us as we explore the challenges, triumphs, and lessons learned on the reentry journey. From darkness to light, from confinement to freedom, this is